Back in 2006, I landed my first job in the optical industry where I have remained for the last 18 years. Along the way, I worked my way up from brand new sales advisor to supervisor to licensed optician, and then eventually licensed store manager. What I find the most interesting when I look back over my professional journey is that the more successful I became, it seemed like the more secretly miserable I felt. It seemed like with every accomplishment came new anxieties about what's next, or how am I gonna top this next time to show everybody I'm still advancing. With every raise came the stress of managing bigger, more expensive bills. It was literally like every promotion added a new weight of responsibility when I was already stressed from my previous responsibilities. To say that I've given 100% of myself to my career is an understatement, which is why about a month ago, I made a decision that shocked everyone, including myself. I decided to step back from management. I took a pay cut and I decided to just be an optician again for a while. I know, sounds crazy, but I have my reasons. Stick around. I would say my days were equal parts predictable, but also really exhausting. Because I was a salaried employee, my days were the same rigid 9-hour shifts, 5 days a week, no matter what. And it was funny because I was allowed to work over the 40 hours a week, but if I worked even 20 minutes less than that, it was viewed as and treated as a problem. And that is not an exaggeration. I actually recall a time where I had a district manager reach out to me for an explanation because he noticed that my time card showed that I had worked 39.75 hours 1 week instead of a full 40. And I was actually asked to explain myself about that. So this was a really stressful way to live, at least for me. And even though I felt that way, I would consistently put on this mask as if everything was okay, because part of me also felt like, how dare I feel this way? You know, I'm living in a really great townhouse with these big floor to ceiling windows. I'm driving the car I want to drive. I'm holding this title that I know so many other people covet, and I'm making this salary that I know so many people wish they were making. So on top of all of that stress, I had also sort of added this layer of guilt and shame for even feeling stressed in the first place. It was a lot. And all of those unchecked emotions swirling around spiraled into a deep depression. And the energy that it took for me to consistently mask that depression led to me having anxiety attacks. And I was just anxious all the time. And I remember this one day in particular. I was at work, I was on the sales floor talking to a patient, and nothing in particular even triggered the anxiety attack. All I know is all of a sudden I felt my pulse speed up so rapidly that I could hear my heart pounding in my ears. My chest got so tight to just take in a breath was difficult for me. It felt like someone was sitting on it or just pressing all of their weight onto my chest. And this wasn't the first time I'd had one, so I knew the symptoms. And I knew that the next thing to happen was the tears would start to flow. And I was too embarrassed to have a complete breakdown and unravel in front of not just my team, but our patients and our customers as well. So I made up some random excuse, bolted out of there. And once I got outside, I was sitting and I was reflecting on, number one, what was triggering this for me, these anxiety attacks. And two, what was I even doing all this for? I had completely lost sight of why I was putting myself through so much for this corporation. Suddenly, I remembered the goal was always to be able to spend more time with my family. However, the more I worked, the less time I was spending with my family. And I don't know how, like somewhere along the way, I received the programming that the more money I made, the more time I would have to do what I wanted to do later. The problem with that is, when is later? What about now? What about what's happening right now? And so, I looked up and all of a sudden, so much of my life was gone. So much of the time I wanted to spend was gone. All of a sudden, my son was 17 years old. And I had missed out on sorry. I missed out on the very lives and the moments that I was working to be a part of. And that was hard for me to first accept that I wasn't going to get that time back. And also, I was genuinely confused about what happened. Like, I kept asking myself, what happened? And even more confusing than what happened was, how did I allow it to happen? How did I allow my life to get this far away from me? And it's okay. I'm still dealing with that and processing that a little bit. But the important thing is, I woke up, I see it now, and I have a very clear trajectory of where I'm going from here. And listen, I could spend a lot of energy placing a lot of blame on a lot of different things, but the truth is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I allowed my emotional body to feel all the things that it needed to feel and cry all the tears that it needed to cry, and I just let all of that go. I let it go. And in that moment, I realized that's what was triggering the anxiety attacks. Anytime that I allowed my mind to fall backwards into the past and hold all this regret that I can't go back and change, I can't do anything about now, that triggered anxiety for me, because now I'm focused on something that's so out of my control. All I can be is anxious about it. Or if I allow my mind to float too far into the future, and now I'm worried about something that hasn't even happened yet, is not a reality, but I'm making it one. I'm making something negative happen, right? Because I'm actively creating my future now. It's like something clicked into place, and in an instant, I understood who I was again and why I was. I decided in that moment to show up for myself, to fight for my sanity, for my mental health. I was done being a side character in my own story, and I was done with management. And if my plan 5 years from now was to be in a corporate setting, in a corporate environment, of course I would keep climbing that ladder because then it would make sense. But when I look at my life 5 years from now, I am nowhere near this place. I'm not working at nobody's job. I'm doing for myself. And so for me, it just didn't make sense to continue on that same path when I know my story is different. I know my journey is different. I feel that in the very core of me. And so I no longer felt the need to hang on to this title just to prove my importance to the people around me. I no longer felt like I needed the title to validate that I was doing something well in my life or that I was important. I'm important to me. I'm already doing well. As of right now, my only focus is to take back what is rightfully mine, which is my time, my freedom. Freedom is my birthright. It is my birthright. And it is your birthright too, which is why this is my call of action to you. If you take nothing else from this video, hear this. Find purpose in your own life. You have to find purpose in your own life, because if you don't, you will end up a part of someone else's. And I don't want that for you. That is a nightmarish, hellish experience. And you deserve better. And I know for a lot of people to say find your purpose is easy, but you don't really know what that means. How does one find their purpose? And if that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to make a video on some of the ways and the tools that I used to discover my own purpose in life. I'm still using, I'm still learning, I'm still developing, but it's working. It's helping me. I feel better. I feel lighter. And I know who I am now, and I know why I'm here. So if that's something you need some guidance with, let me know. I'm happy to talk through that with you guys as well. But that is one thing I will ask of you. Find purpose in your life. If you're miserable right now, feel like you don't belong, feel like something's just not right, stop looking out there. Listen, there's no answers out there. You need to go in. Your answers are in here. What's your purpose? Because your job is your job, and that's great. But what is your work? What are you on earth to do? Once you figure that out, once you start to unlock that, that's where the magic happens. I believe my purpose is to help others like me navigate this roller coaster of life. So many times I've allowed external forces to depress me or discourage me because I didn't know my own power. I didn't know my own strength. And I really kind of wasn't walking in my purpose. I was so busy trying to build someone else's. I felt the need to make myself responsible and hold myself accountable for building someone else's dream and fulfilling someone else's purpose that they thought of for their lives. And if that's where you are in your life right now, know this: you were not born to struggle, pay bills, and then die. No, you are not. And I don't want that for you. You are so much more powerful than you realize. And quite frankly, you deserve better. And listen, it took me some time. But today I know my worth. I know my value. I know my purpose. And I love who I am. And I hope you love who you are too. So what have I learned? I've learned that for me, having a little less money, but a lot more time to enjoy my life and my loved ones makes me infinitely happier. I've learned that I do not have the mental bandwidth to work another 20 to 30 years before I can retire and then start to enjoy my life. No, ma'am. No, sir. I'm enjoying my life right now, today. Today is the first day of the rest of my life. I've learned that no one can love or take care of me better than me. And listen, I have some wonderful people in my life who love me dearly. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I spent so much time searching for something external to confirm or validate me when I was the one I needed all along. I had to confirm that I was important to myself. I had to validate me. And now I'm thriving, tribe. My days are so much shorter and I just have a lot more time to do what's important to me, to focus on what brings me joy and what is actively raising my vibrational frequency. I go to work, I come home, I'm still energized, and I am nowhere near as stressed as I was before. And if you're watching this and you're thinking, well, yeah, I kind of feel like that too, but I'm still too afraid of what people will think. Or, maybe you're worried about what people will say if they feel like you're taking steps backwards. I'll say this: do what's best for you always, but you should know that as long as you continue to cater to those people, you will remain trapped in the same reality that they are. So just be cautious, be aware, think about that. The people whose judgment you're worried about and that's holding you back, don't worry about what they might say. Look at their lives. What does their actual life look like? If they're not living the life that you're striving to live, that's not a person you should be concerned about. And that's where it's going to take some inner work for you to be able to overcome that and sort of let that go. Because what I've learned is the greatest key to my success is authenticity. I had to break away from the crowd and what everybody thought I should do and who everybody thought I should be. The more authentic I am, the more that I'm myself, the more blessings just show up in my life. The more miracles happen around me all the time, every day. The more the universe just opens up to me. It's almost like it's rewarding the fact that I'm no longer just complying and trying to blend in. Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't worry about those people. You do you. Only change makes change. But that's it, tribe. That is my story. I am calling this phase 1 of this journey because, unlike a lot of people, like I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where people are like, I just quit my $100,000 a year job and now I'm an entrepreneur. I think that's beautiful. But I do have to be honest with myself in that that's not my story. I'm not in a place yet where I can just quit cold turkey, but I can start right now making steps in the right direction. And that's another unlock to you achieving your goals as well. A lot of times we give up on our dreams way too soon because we're looking at the end result. Well, of course that looks so far away, or that looks so hard, or like so much to do, but the end result isn't really your focus. The journey is. All you have to do is start. Just start. And that's what I did. I started. I took one step in the right direction, which was me getting at least some of my time back and some of my peace back. And right now, I'm good. I'm good with just that. I will definitely make a follow-up to this video as I enter phase 2, which I expect will be likely several months from now. I would love for it to be sooner. But I'm planning for phase 2 to likely happen at some point next year. And I'll definitely make that video as well, so you guys can see how this journey and this life change is going for me as I slowly work my way out of the workforce. Do me a favor before you go, hit that like button. That is literally currency for me. If you want to do something to show your support, this message resonated with you, hit the like button. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. Allowing me to share this, I feel healed. I feel better. I hope you got something from it too, or as well. If this resonated with you, I would love for you to consider subscribing. I would love to have you and for us to continue having these conversations. I love to see you guys down in the comments. Oftentimes you say something that is helpful for me, so we can help each other. But yes, please like this video, share the video, consider subscribing. And until next time, be kind to yourself and then everyone else. And I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.